Have you ever looked at a map and wondered how borders shift, how nations are born, and how some stories get lost in the shuffle? Today, we're going to explore one of the most complex and deeply personal stories of our time, the story of Palestine and the Palestinian people's connection to their land. This isn't just about politics, it's about history, identity, and the very concept of home. To truly understand the present, we have to journey back in time. For centuries, the land between the Jordan River and the Mediterranean Sea was home to a diverse population of Muslims, Christians, and a small Jewish community, all living together under various empires, most notably the Ottoman Empire. This region was known as Palestine. The people living there, regardless of their faith, were Palestinians. We can see this in Ottoman tax records, historical travelogues, and even old photographs from the 19th century, which depict a vibrant, multicultural society. Cities like Jerusalem, Jaffa, and Haifa were bustling centers of trade and culture, long before the turn of the 20th century. Everything began to change dramatically in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. The rise of the Zionist movement in Europe, which called for the establishment of a Jewish homeland in Palestine, set a new course for the region's history. This movement gained significant political backing with the 1917 Balfour Declaration, a letter from the British government expressing support for this goal. It's crucial to note that this declaration was made by a colonial power without consulting the indigenous Arab population, who made up over 90% of the people living there at the time. The declaration itself even included a clause that nothing shall be done which may prejudice the civil and religious rights of existing non-Jewish communities in Palestine, a promise that history shows was not kept. Following World War I, the Ottoman Empire collapsed, and Britain was granted a mandate over Palestine by the League of Nations. During this period, Jewish immigration from Europe increased significantly, often facilitated by British policies. This led to rising tensions. Land, which was the lifeblood of the predominantly agricultural Palestinian society, became a major point of contention. Many Palestinian farmers, who had worked the land for generations as tenants, found themselves displaced as large tracts were sold to Zionist organizations by absentee landlords who didn't even live in Palestine. This process is well documented in British Mandate records and the reports of commissions like the Peel Commission in 1937, which acknowledged the growing conflict over land and the fears of the Arab population about being displaced. The year 1948 marks a pivotal, catastrophic moment in Palestinian history, known as the Nakba, which means catastrophe in Arabic. Following the end of the British Mandate and the UN's 1947 partition plan, which proposed dividing the land into separate Arab and Jewish states, war broke out. The plan, which was rejected by the Arab leadership, allocated about 56% of Palestine to a Jewish state, even though Jewish people owned only about 7% of the private land and made up about a third of the population at the time. During the 1948 war, over 750,000 Palestinians, more than half the Arab population, were expelled from or fled their homes in fear. Over 500 Palestinian villages and towns were depopulated and subsequently destroyed. This isn't a contested opinion, it's a historical fact supported by records from the United Nations, the Red Cross, and even the diaries and documents of early Israeli leaders themselves. These people didn't just leave, they were forced out. They left behind their homes, their farms, their businesses, and their history. They became refugees, many ending up in neighboring countries like Jordan, Lebanon, and Syria, or in designated camps within the remaining Palestinian territories, the West Bank and Gaza Strip. Many of these refugees and their descendants, now numbering in the millions, still hold the keys to their old homes and the deeds to their land. These keys have become a powerful symbol of their right to return, a right enshrined in international law under UN General Assembly Resolution 194. This resolution, passed in 1948, states that refugees wishing to return to their homes and live at peace with their neighbors should be permitted to do so at the earliest practicable date. Year after year, this right has been reaffirmed by the international community, yet it remains unfulfilled for Palestinians. The story doesn't end in 1948. In 1967, the Six-Day War resulted in Israel occupying the remaining Palestinian territories, the West Bank, including East Jerusalem, and the Gaza Strip. Since then, international law, including numerous UN Security Council resolutions like Resolution 242, has viewed this as a military occupation. Under the Fourth Geneva Convention, an occupying power is forbidden from transferring its own civilian population into the territory it occupies. Despite this, a network of Israeli settlements has been built across the West Bank and East Jerusalem. These settlements are considered illegal under international law by nearly the entire global community, including the United Nations, the International Court of Justice, and the International Red Cross. These settlements are not just houses. They are connected by a web of separate roads, infrastructure, and a legal system that fragments Palestinian land, making a contiguous, independent Palestinian state nearly impossible. This brings us to today. When we talk about the Palestinian right to their land, we're talking about several interconnected things. We're talking about the historical presence of Palestinians for centuries. We're talking about the documented displacement of hundreds of thousands of people during the Nakba. We're talking about the right of return for refugees, as affirmed by international law. And we're talking about ending a military occupation that has lasted for over half a century, and the dismantling of settlements that violate international conventions. Understanding this history is not about assigning blame. It's about acknowledging a documented reality. It is about recognizing that for Palestinians, this is not a distant political issue. It is the story of their grandparents' lost homes, the olive groves their families tended for generations, and their daily struggle for freedom, dignity, and the right to self-determination on their own land. The maps, the UN resolutions, the historical records, and the keys still held by refugee families all tell the same story, a story of a people deeply connected to a land they call home. Thank you so much for taking the time to learn with us today. This is a complex topic, and we've only scratched the surface. If this video helped you understand the situation better, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more deep dives into important global issues. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. See you next time.